supported by 3FM 92.7 Accra.
Hello and welcome to Hot Issues. As we've been following, the nation's premier teaching hospital has had all kinds of difficulties and problems. There have been all kinds of allegations and all kinds of counter-allegations of corruption, of nepotism, of mismanagement, and so on. This week, we want to examine all of these issues related to the management of the Korle Teaching Hospital. You're welcome to Hot Issues. Hello, welcome back to Hot Issues. And as I indicated, we are going to spend our time this week looking at the Korle Teaching Hospital, the controversies around the hospital and inside the hospital, the allegations of nepotism, the allegations of witch hunting, and so on. We're going to try and look at all of that. And to take that look is a gentleman called Charles Offei Palm. Charles Offei Palm is the president of the Senior Staff Association of the hospital, and it is alleged that he has been kicked out of the hospital. So you're welcome to
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to be on the program. Thank you very much.
Are you still on the staff of the Korle Teaching Hospital?
Yes, I can confidently tell you that as today, I'm still a staff of the Korle Teaching Hospital. I am on interdiction, yes, which I've gone to court to challenge that interdiction. But yes, I'm on.
How come you're in interdiction?
Yes, I granted interview as the spokesperson and the president of the Korle Senior Staff Association to one radio station, Class FM, in which the hospital claims that in that interview I breached the Korle media policy, and that whatever I said at that interview or at that radio station tarnished, among other things, the image of the hospital. I misrepresented some facts, and then that acted prejudicial to the hospital, and then that has also brought the name of the hospital into dispute. So that led to my interdiction.
Did you violate the rules?
No, so far I'm concerned, they did not violate the rules.
What are the rules?
The rules are very clear. When they are what we call the media guidelines policy for the hospital, which is there for everybody. But if you are a spokesperson for a union or an association, that doesn't apply to you.
How come?
Oh yeah, because per that mandate that your people have given to you, you speak on their issues, so they cannot restrict you on that. And that is why you see associations all over this country, and their union leaders speak on their behalf. We have the GMA, we have the Ghana Gospel, we have the Ghana Resident Associations, we have TEU, we have the NAGRAT, we have all of them. They have presidents and spokespersons of the association that speak on behalf of the association. And in no other circumstances have they been victimized or they been attacked or dismissed because they spoke on behalf of the people they represent. I think that is to me.
Apart from being president of the Senior Staff Association, what else do you do in Korle?
I'm a specialist pharmacist. I'm the specialist pharmacist in charge of the New Eye Center, the Lions Vision International Center. So I do the day-to-day activities, making sure the pharmacy is functional, or we offer pharmaceutical services to clients that come to that specialized care in the hospital.
Let's start from your department, pharmacy.
Yes.
There have been all kinds of allegations that people fiddle with figures when it comes to buying drugs. Is that true?
We have a central system whereby prices are determined on how medicine should be sold, and that's how we do it. Now, there was a forensic audit some time ago that implicated some people, and then some were interdicted, an investigation, administrative inquiry was set up, and then some were exonerated, and others were still found culpable. In other words, not necessarily culpable, but then the Yoko came in as a body mandated to investigate such incidents that were reported or that were recommended from the forensic audit. So as we speak now, the IOCO has still not completed its work, and so some of the staff are still back at work with the assurance or the premo that once IOCO finishes its work and then some are still found culpable, then they will have a cause to answer. Yes. Some also went to court to seek redress because they found that they were not treated also fairly. The procedures were clearly violated their human rights. And so some of them went
So at least the allegations against the department in which you work.
Oh yes, the pharmacy department, yes. Yeah.
What have you done about it from your own department? What have you done about the
so many things. One of the recommendations for the forensic reports some of the recommendations are being implemented. And to me, whatever was detected was done in ensuring that those things never reoccur again. And it's a lesson for all of us to learn. And we are hoping that the measures that have been put in place will not allow such a recurrence to take place again.
You're a very senior officer
Yes.
when it comes to the pharmacy department.
Yes.
Now, I'm saying that things are getting rotten in that department, or things allegedly are rotten. Yeah. What is your role in preventing the rot in the pharmacy department? Personal role.
My role is very, very, very simple. We have so many units that operate under the umbrella of the pharmacy department of the Korle Teaching Hospital. I belong to one of the units. I manage one of the units.
Is that unit clean?
Very, very clean.
No audit report against it?
No. So far, I have worked in Korle for 15 years, and I headed the accident center before I left. I had a clean report. In fact, that is why you can see today that if I'm still talking, it's because I've been dug and dug. They've dug under me, and they don't find a iota of fault against me in terms of managing institutions. For example, I keep telling people that my interdiction has nothing to do with misappropriation. My interdiction has nothing to do with stealing of medicines. My interdiction has nothing to do with anything, excuse my language, tagged as evil. But it's rather an interdiction because you're trying to put things right. An interdiction because you're saying the truth. An interdiction because you're speaking against mismanagement of funds that are supposed to be used for the purpose of saving lives. And we think that funds is not being used. So I am 100% confident that I'm clean. And that is why today I speak with boldness and that confidence. Because I can say that you can go and dig me, find all the things that has been done, all the audit report that has come out and the units that have managed, and they've not found a iota of fault against me. And that is why today you see I speak boldly and I urge people to manage our resources well. Because where I was, I'll be able to do that. And so to me, personally, nothing has been found against me in all the units that I have managed so far. And currently the eye is a new place. We just moved. I set up the eye pharmacy department, eye pharmacy unit. And as we speak now, it's not working. That's one of the problems we have now. But we've been working for at least 6 months now. And so far I'm concerned, nothing has happened.
Why is the eye pharmacy not working?
The eye department is pharmacy. The eye pharmacy is part of the eye vision center. It was recently inaugurated, but then they realized that doing it, when we started working there was a lot of heat. There was no air condition, excessive heat, that you realize that it was leading to patients to get agitated easily. Doctors or paramedics who were also working there, they are always sweating. Before you finish 1K, you have to go out and get some fresh air. We're sweating all over the place. And in some instances, patients have been collapsed due to the excessive heat. So because of that, there was a meeting that, look, we cannot still continue to work in that heat, as we all lose our rights that we are supposed to take or provide that good care to our clients. So there was a need to pause and then come and fix air conditions in the entire setup. So they have to start rewiring all over again and then bring in air conditioning so that every part of that new eye center will have air conditioning. So that heat will be a problem in the past. And doctors and nurses and the medical team that work there will feel comfortable to see, and our clients who that come in will feel comfortable that they are while they are waiting to be seen. So that is how the reason. It's been down for more than 1 month now. We are praying that things get back to normal very soon.
For some time now,
Yes.
every and any chief executive who has been appointed to Korle has ended up in trouble. What is it about Korle that makes it impossible for people to work there and excel?
I think it's a bad perception that is going on, and I want to take this opportunity to correct that impression. Ever since I went to Korle, 1999, we had, at that time, it was Dr. Hubert Smith. Dr. Hubert Smith spent his full time as a CEO, I think 7 years. Staff did not agitate against him. After Dr. Hubert Smith, then came Professor Offei Palm, obviously one of the finest CEOs that we had in the Korle Teaching Hospital. He served his full term.
But there were agitations against Dr. Offei Palm.
Yes, but not the kind of agitations that we have now.
But there were agitations.
Of course, it's a human institution.
Okay.
There may be one or two challenges. Yes, but those times we call them challenges. They are not what we see now. We didn't appear, he didn't appear on front page being cited for contempt. There wasn't arbitrary dismissal led to consumer amount of money being paid to bad jets, as bad jets. No, we didn't have. So he also served his full time. He introduced the concept that why we have to use our manage our scarce resources very well. But I mean, he came up that there was no that kind of start of education we are seeing now. Then came Professor Tunate, who also had I think 7 years of term. There wasn't any problem of staff agitation that you see. There were
staff agitation.
There were challenges in terms of the board, and I think the dismissal of one of the directors, but not to that magnitude that you find now. But that was the
all
beginning.
the instances, yes, there was staff agitation.
Yes, but not. Yes, I agree with you to some extent, but not the kind of staff agitation that we are seeing now. Okay. Challenges on demonstrations and all those. No, those things never. They were. Let me use the word quote unquote challenges that come with normal administration. They're not human institutions. Now, after Professor Tunate left, the program began there with the board. I think there was a misunderstanding within the board. There was internal wrangling within the board. And I think at that time, the late His Excellency Professor Tamils found it wise to dissolve that board. So that board was dissolved. But then Tunate continued. He started under the tenure of the MPP. He entered under the tenure of NEC. He finished his term. Now, after Tunate was then when the problems of Korle actually began, the successor. Because at that time, I think Professor she came in as the acting CEO. And then when she finished her term, because I think she attained the age of 60 years, so it was a compulsory retirement. Then, we don't know how it happened, Reverend Alberto Kutu Nate was put there as the CEO. Now, that was when I see that staff began to agitate. Partly because we saw that for the first time, we realized that the IGF, the internally generated fund, which was meant purely for patient care, were being diverted for purposes not meant for that. We had raised issues with it, but we realized that our issues did not get management attention enough. So we then have to petition His Excellency President Mahama. I mean, it became, the rest is not is history. Partly because we also have over 1 million Ghana cedis were used to buy luxurious cars. One of the cars cost more around 250,000 at that time Ghana cedis. And we were saying at that time we're lacking essential services, lacking essential consumables, we're lacking medicine, we're lacking reagents. So there was no need to have done that. Partly we're also saying that, look, the policy is very clear. The Act 525 is very clear. If there is a need to buy those things, and let me be honest with you, under all the previous CEOs, they did not buy all those cars.
What do you describe as luxurious cars?
Luxurious cars are cars that are meant, luxurious cars are cars that are meant to be used on, or I don't know how to explain it, but luxurious cars are expensive cars that doesn't warrant the use of IGF to be bought with. In other words, those money are not meant for that type of cars. It doesn't mean that Korle doesn't have to acquire cars, but there are limits, there are type of vehicles that the Ministry of allows the hospital to buy as a transport policy. So that if you are going to buy a car, you don't buy certain type of cars. They belong to luxurious, and that one, the hospital, by its mandate, is not allowed to do that, especially using the money that is generated from patients.
So which cars were bought?
They were luxurious cars, VW, Passats, and then the Audi. I mean, first of all, we look at the CC. I mean, by the ministry standards, those cars should be under 2C, CC. Our black car was more than 2C. The idea is that you bought luxurious car with double exhaust. What it simply means that you are going to spend more petrol on that car.
You mean VW Passat is a luxury car?
It depends on the type. The type that was bought was classified as the luxurious cars that were meant for the protocol use. Now, the Audi, that became the center of controversy, was classified as a luxurious car because it had Google Map and all those on it. It was very expensive. It had double exhaust. It had Google Map and Wi-Fi. And it had double exhaust. And we know vehicles that come with double exhaust, the meaning of it. Apart from the consumption passion of petrol, meaning that you are going to use more money from the IGF to fuel that car. And also you are going to use more money to buy expensive spare parts.
So what kind of cars would you have recommended for the hospital if you were in charge?
Well, the cars that are normally being used at the Ministry of Health.
Which ones?
I know they have cars that were meant for public purchase. For example, senior managers, they have a type of car that comes for them, which has been carefully determined to meet the demands of that category of staff. And that was what we're saying.
So which kind of cars? You mean?
I cannot say it's a VW or Toyota. But what I'm saying is that there's a class of category of cars that is allowed to be used.
What is the price range of the cars?
I cannot immediately give you the price range.
So if you cannot, then how can you make the allegation?
Because at that time we're proving. I mean, we have the documents. That was zeros. And it's not even yes. It was said by even a minister. And
the viewers want to understand what you're saying.
Yes.
What is the cost of a luxurious car? And what is the cost of a non-luxurious car?
I cannot immediately give you the figures. But what I can confidently say that a luxurious car is classified as a type of car that meets certain requirements. Amongst them is the 2cc, certain components that comes on it. You can have a VW, but we have what we call special make. You go and they add that make to it, and that makes the car more luxurious, and that makes it more nicer. Those things that are added on make the car more expensive. Now, what we are saying in the short and long term of it is that the IGF, the internally generated money, which the patients come to purchase healthcare through their sweat, that is not supposed to be meant to use for the car. Now, Korle has a pool of cars. You realize that that pool of cars that they were using, they are not luxurious cars. They are ordinary cars that are meant to be used.
VW Passat is a very ordinary car.
It depends on the make and then the
specifications.
Yes.
Double exhaust.
Yes. No, the double exhaust is the Audi.
Okay.
I mean, you know, every car that is double exhaust comes with its own specifications, its own elegancy. So we were saying that at that time, in principle, we were lacking essential basic consumables. And the law is very clear. Now, even if you want to buy those kind of cars, you need to seek permission from the minister. So even if Korle is making millions, we have made excess of money that warrants the purchase of those cars. What the ministry or the law is saying that seek permission. Now, the minister will then seek further clarification, and then the cars will be allocated to you. Because, number one, the law says that don't use that type of money to do this type of things. Gone were the days the ministry even used to purchase cars for the CEO, so that Korle doesn't use its money on those vehicles. So at the essence of that money that you generate, because there's no subvention from government. Government comes in the form of subvention through retooling, which has done very well. You see, you have imported gas plant, imported MRI, has opened new pediatric centers, theater. They're coming in the form of retooling. And that retooling is supposed to bring a lot of cash to the system. So if the cash is coming, if you were to purchase those equipment yourself, then you realize that you'll be going down. But because government has come in with all that help, you are making a lot of money. That money should not be misunderstood that it's coming out of ordinary Ghanaians who have come to pay, but they're coming from Ghanaians who have bought maybe more because they want to purchase and get good care. Some have gone to sell their houses. Some have sold their lands. Some have sold their cars. In exchange, they want good health. So when money comes,
so there's the allegation that money from internally generated funds were used without proper authority.
Good. That was confirmed and certified.
That some of the money from the internal generated funds were used to purchase luxurious cars.
Yes, at that time.
What are the other things that the management did wrong?
And good. The other thing that we also noticed at that time was that there is an allowance for board members and board members. Now, the 5-to-5 clearly defines who becomes a board member. And then the allowance is then determined. In the case of Korle, we realized that it went from 500 to 2,000 to 2,200. In one instance, for example, we realized that 15 people were on management, were on board, and that cost the hospital within 1 month 45,000 Ghana cedis. So, and at that time, management was supposed to meet weekly. That broke down. So it means that board took over the management role, and when they meet, they have to pay themselves. And that one, to the minister, came out very clear. The other report came out and said, no, you cannot arbitrarily get an increased board allowance. Once again, if Korle believes that they have made excess money, you still have to seek approval from the minister. The minister will then seek approval from the Minister of Finance. Certain Minister of Finance, Korle say they've done a lot of money. They work so hard, they got a lot of money. So they want to pay their board members from 500 to 2,000 per 200 per head. Should we go ahead? That wasn't done. We are also saying that that money wasn't meant for that. So whilst all this were going on, essential care, patient care were being neglected. Okay. And we fear the right of patients and clients that come to the hospital.
Okay. We're going to take a very short break. We are on hot issues, and we are talking to Mr. Charles Offei Palm, who is the president of the Senior Staff Association of the Korle Teaching Hospital. Now, when we come back, I'd like us to explore a lot more, you know, the allegations about the arbitrary increase of board allowances. Short break. Hello, welcome back to Hot Issues. So we are taking a look at the Korle Teaching Hospital. It appears to have a lot of problems, controversies, allegations, and counter-allegations, and so on. And we are having this conversation with Mr. Charles Offei Palm. And just before we went on the break, you were raising the issue of what you called arbitrary increases in board allowances. Now, what are the standard board allowances?
At that time, we were told, our search or our intelligence gathering was that board were supposed to pay themselves 500 Ghana cedis per sitting allowance at that time. And Korle even introduced for the first time what board fee and board allowances. I mean, I used to have the evidence there. And it was paid between 2,000 to 200 per head. Now you realize that all this was affecting the financial.
Before you go to the effect, who determines appropriate board allowances? How are they determined? Where can you find them? It's not a question of intelligence gathering.
Yeah.
I mean, institutions should have mechanisms for determining board allowances and so on.
Yes.
How is the board allowance determined in Korle?
I stand to be corrected, but I think board allowances are determined generally by the Ministry of Finance. There must be approval as to how board members are paid. And I also stand to be corrected, they are generalized in the term that board members are paid normally along some amount of money. The variation is very small. So at that time, it was 500.
The Ministry of Finance had approved 500 cedis.
Good.
You're sure?
Yes, sometimes.
Okay.
Because in the audit report that came subsequently, Korle had justified why they had to increase to that, and that was quashed by the audit report. And the report had made reference that further actions, further increment of that sort should be addressed to the Ministry of Finance through the Minister of Health. And subsequently, the order came for the Ministry of Finance that this is the amount that should be paid, and that has been maintained as at now. So to some extent, we did very well in making
Now,
sure.
the allowances, were they also being paid from the internally generated funds?
Yes. Every money were being paid from the internally generated fund.
Was that proper?
No, it was wrong. No, it is proper in the sense that they deserve that amount of money. Yes, it was proper. But then going beyond it, it was improper. Because it has been approved. So when it's approved, you have the legal basis for it to be given out. That's why we don't come in, because there is justification.
Are board allowances supposed to be paid from internally generated funds?
By law, I can't say yes or no. What we were arguing for the point was the amount, the quantum, as compared to other board members now for themselves. So I cannot say here that there's a law that says that we should use IGF to pay board allowance. What I can confidently say that IGF should be used purely for patient care. That one is clear.
And patient care does not include board allowance?
Good.
What did the audit report say on this matter?
The audit report queried the amount being paid. And then...
And not where it was being paid from?
No. and that the Minister of Finance, the permission should have been sorted out from the Ministry of Health, and then through the Minister of, you seek permission from the Ministry of Health, then they seek from the Ministry of Finance. So the feedback was that they should go back to the original amount that was being paid. So the auditor did not comment on whether it has supposed to be used or not. Yes. And we also were not arguing on that point of view, because maybe we will need expenditure. But well, that kind of expenditure, the quantum was the one that was paid really. So in one board meeting, you can spend 45,000 Ghana. That was a lot of money for us, especially when we were lacking gloves and plasters at that time.
You seem to be very worried about the quality of patients' care.
Yes.
What is it? What is the quality?
Oh, that makes my work very, 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 very.
What is the problem with patients' care for patients?
Oh, the patient, what we simply mean is that when somebody pitches health, it comes to Korle, or it comes to any, like Korle, for example, or it comes to the pharmacy, and he or she has been required to get some medications or required to get certain kind of clinical care or services, and that person gets it, and that person feel comfortable, and that person feel well taken care of, then we are comfortable that we have met our target in seeing that patient.
In other words, what are you not doing to make patients comfortable? What are you not doing to make people who use the hospital's facilities happy?
Good. These are some of the agitations that we see. And let me come to my case as a pharmacist. And then there have been scenarios. Let me give a clear scenario. There was a patient that came around 12 midnight. It's not even me, the laboratory, for example, and then there was a need, midnight. You don't have any facility around the hospital working around that time. They've all closed. And then they come asking, demanding for a type of medicine. And then you tell them that it's not available. I used to work at emergency, and you say it's not available. And you see the frustration on the face. Not only the patient who came, the doctor will then follow up. But why don't you have that medicine? How much does it cost? The sad aspect is that sometimes the cost is very, very, very small. And so they wait until the next morning, and then they go outside, and when they realize the price is so cheap, and they come to you and say, look, so I was here yesterday, if my wife or someone has passed on, is this going to be that cost of that medicine? Why don't you have it here? So these are the type of things we want to avoid.
You didn't have the kinds of medicines that you needed.
Yes.
What else?
Then reagents. For example, you go to the laboratory, a doctor may require some tests urgently to determine a diagnosis. And then you go, they say, oh, they cannot do that type of laboratory because they don't have reagents. And because at that time, nobody will be working because it's late in the night. And as service providers, we are supposed to provide service 24 hours.
Well, what are reagents?
Reagents are chemicals used to determine a parameter or indicator of a certain kind of disease. So you go to a laboratory, they will tell you that, for example, your cholesterol is high, or your HB is low, your blood levels are low, so then maybe you have to transfuse, or you need to know that whether the person is anemic, and so on. So you may require certain agent requests to the laboratory services people, so that they will then give you the feedback for you to take a decision quickly. And sometimes they say they don't have.
So your stock of medicine is poor. You don't have reagents for laboratory tests and so on. What is the other problem? What are the other problems?
The other problems have to do with equipment. Like, for example, one of the things we are mentioning now, as we speak now, oxygen plant is broken down.
Oxygen?
Plant is broken down. As we speak now, the Center for Sterilization and Supply Department, CSSD, where we sterilize our equipment that we have to reuse on patients, is also broken down. As we speak now.
But that's a serious allegation.
It's not allegation. They're not allegations.
It's a very serious allegation.
They're not allegations. They are confirmed. It's all over the news.
No, I can't confirm it.
Good.
It's a very serious allegation. Good. If you have a hospital like Korle,
yes,
and the sterilization plant is broken down, yes, what it means is that you are transmitting diseases.
Partially. Partially.
Yes, it means that the rate of infection is way up in the sky.
Yeah, it is happening. It is happening. And yesterday it was all over the news that certain operations and procedures have to be stopped because now we have to take our equipment, the surgical equipment that we have to use to operate on the people to 37 or other places, you have them sterilized. Now you move them there, you may not get it back the time you want. So there is an emergency. I listened to one of the doctors on radio. It's an emergency now. You are ready to work on a patient, but then there's no equipment. There's no gown. Like you rightly said, before you go to a theater, must wear a gown. That gown must be sterilized from the that center. And so the patient has come, you want to go to theater, you are ready to show, to prove your competency, but then there's no gown, because the gown has been taken to some place, and the gown is not yet back. So what do? You quickly have to refer the person back to another.
What does it take to get the sterilization equipment working?
Well, we need to fix it. Fixing means that we need to find out what happened. How much does it cost? How soon can we fix it? If that is the priority of the hospital. Because to me, that's why the difference is coming.
Do you know what it takes to fix it?
Oh, all we know is that it's broken down and there's a need to bring spare parts or bring a new one or buy a new one.
If that is all that you know, then it well may mean that it's beyond the competence of the hospital administration. Anybody could be there, they could have the same problem.
No. I'm saying no in a sense. Yes and no. Yes, in a sense that...
Let's deal with the no first. Why no?
No, because we must have a maintenance system of checking some of these things. For how long have we used this equipment? So what is the maintenance plan for it? The gas plant, it was newly built for Korle, the oxygen plant, by the government. At that time, Korle was spending a lot of money to buy oxygen. So if government has provided that thing for free, what was the maintenance contract on that oxygen? The problem is the contract maintenance or maintenance of the equipment. So why do we allow it to break down before we even move? If there is periodic maintenance check, we quickly say, look, the way we are seeing this machine, within the next 3 months or 4 months, this machine can easily break down. So as management, a team, let's stand by with a newer one. And so once, you don't even wait for it to break down. Once you have realized that it's going to go, they have a usage period. We must be aware of all this. So you don't wait for it to come down before then you act. What it simply means is that we are not doing our work very well. Now, the other question you ask is that, do the people report to management about the issues of that particular plant or about that particular problem? Yes. Now, the issue is that, do they act? Do they take that as priority? The answer is no.
Okay.
Good.
Isn't it also possible the management is aware of repair schedules and so on, but there are just not enough resources to meet those schedules?
Good.
To buy new plants and so on. If there are no resources, there are no resources.
So where are our resources going to? That comes back to what we have been saying all this while. Like, let's manage our scarce resources very well. So if we can take 1 million Ghana cedis to buy luxurious cars like we're taking, then you should have enough money to care for autoclave. It's on air. I mean, it's rumored that it costs $20,000. I don't know how true is that.
The autoclave.
Autoclave. But how much are we importing for spare parts on the Audi? That is where we come in and say, look, our prices have changed now because we are not managing our scarce resources very well. So if you come and tell me that we cannot get $20,000 to buy a new autoclave, but we can spend that money on cars, then I have a problem because then we have misplaced priority. That has been agitation. And we see the brunt of the staff. It's not administration. Like the person come to you, you see them die. Like the doctor is saying, I see them, I want to operate on them. I don't have gowns. I don't have surgical instruments. Recently, it was reported on air, which is true, that we are using a chemical called Paracef. Now, the Paracef cannot kill all kinds of bacteria. So what it means is that if you are operating on a patient that has that kind of bacteria, and you use Paracef, it's likely that the thing will not be sterilized properly. And if you use it onto another person, you are transmitting that to that person. The question is that what is our priority? Some time ago, we didn't have suction machines. Honorable, ask yourself, how much is a suction machine?
Suction?
Suction machine. So for that matter, Ghana Theatre was closed. All the 3 broke down. And for that matter, they said, look, we don't have it. So you realize that people are in the queue suffering. And then because suction machine, it got to a time when people have to bring their own suction machine. So if you come and tell me that, oh, we don't have a suction machine, so we cannot operate on your man. I say, oh, how much is suction machine? 809. Oh, I can buy it. I'll give it to you for free. Or I'll use it for my mom at the clinic. When you finish, take it. You see, so, and that was why some of the things are hidden from the public. And that has caused us, because we realize that sometimes the public can also help. If you think sausage machine, because that's the reason why you've closed a Ghana Theatre you don't have, and then somebody can come and say, look, I can help. Oh, if you have told me that, I can afford that. I just want my mother to
There's a very interesting point you made.
Yes.
That government is playing its part.
Yes.
government is bringing in needed equipment and so on.
Good.
And at the same time, you insist that this new things the government is introducing, needed by the hospital to make the work efficient and so on, are not being maintained.
Good.
Why are we getting all this new equipment? You mentioned the MRI, you mentioned
the oxygen plant,
the sterilization plant, and so on. Why are we getting all of these things if they would not be properly managed? Doesn't that constitute a serious waste?
Yes. No waste. Because I think that if...
because we're spending state resources
yes.
to improve the facilities in the hospital, to bring all the equipment and so on, and nobody cares about how they're managed.
No, management should care. Government has done its part. Let me use a clear example of the oxygen plant. Honorable, oxygen plant, if we are now buying oxygen, what means that we are going to spend money to buy oxygen outside. What government provided, if we are taking care of it, Korle could have producing oxygen and supplying to other circuit or other closer clinics or hospitals that require oxygen. What it means is that Korle is going to make money from it. What it also means that Korle's oxygen is going to be cheaper for the clients, the patients who come to us, and to be easily and readily accessible. That was a good initiative. Now, we were spending, the question we asked is that we were spending a lot of money, millions, in buying oxygen before government brought in the plant. And so, where is that money? Because today you have a new plant. So where is the money going to? The money that you used to purchase...
But the plant has broken down.
Yes, it's because government came in, gave you the plant. You were spending about 4 million on oxygen alone, and government has bought you the plant. So it means that you are supposed to save that amount of money every year. So what it simply means, as management, you need to have some quota of that money for maintenance, because it's bringing you a lot of money. So this one, the government doesn't come in. Government has appointed people there to make sure that whatever I've brought in, you take good care of it. You say you needed it. I have come to give it to you. It is working in perfect conditions. All you have to do is that sustain it, make money out of it, and make sure the clients that come there, you take good care of them. I have not charged you for that. It's for free. So you ask yourself, all the money that you used to pay for that oxygen, today where are they? So people are lacking oxygen now. So today you can run out of oxygen. And it's sad. And just when kids die because maybe they don't have oxygen. Because make sure that now you are buying. You work within a time frame. You request based on demand, and anything can happen in an emergency. And when they can say, oh, there's no oxygen, let's go and bring cylinders. We don't have some. What happens to that patient? I am a leader who doesn't believe in sensationalism, so I don't comment on sensationalism, because I believe sensationalism can impair the confidence of clients that come here. So I restrain myself to mismanagement and other issues. But you realize that the outcome is that people are dying. So government has done very well. Government built a pediatric theater. All we need is that we have to take good care. It's been taking care of it, so that we have a maintenance plan that comes with it. So it buys MRI. MRI is very expensive. If we were to take our own money to buy that MRI, that means that certain services will have lacked. But government is saying that I've brought you that MRI. All you have to do is that take good care of it, make money out of it. The money that comes out of it, make sure that you provide good care to the people or the citizens. So government doesn't come in at all. Management's role. But you see, this one I would dare to say, this is what I have noticed. That there was a confusion or conflict. Conflict between management and the ministry. And I'm daring to say it because what we have noticed is that it's easy for Korle to say, oh, okay, they even came to build a plant there. We don't even know the contract. We don't even know the maintenance shadow, blah, 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 blah. So now that it's broken down, how do I get the contractors? How do I get this? But that shouldn't be complained. The other thing is that, oh, it's being executed by the Ministry of Health. And because it was easy, we those in Korle, we don't know anything about it. And when we ask, they don't tell us anything. So the attitude is like, okay, you came to build it. Okay, we don't know anything about it. And then we wait till the thing get broken down, and then we start acting. So
now, sir, what explains that attitude? An MRI is needed in a hospital. Government provides it. And then those who manage the hospital says, why should government provide it? We should have provided it. Does it matter who really is providing it?
That is a good question. Because these are some of the things they don't say on air. But when they meet you one-on-one in meetings, that's what they say. They start shifting the blame. And to me, that's not that's the solution.
But as far as you're concerned, does it matter?
No, it doesn't matter at all. It doesn't matter at all. it doesn't matter. We are happy to have those facilities. It boosts the image of the hospital. It boosts the image to have a first-class international eye center. It boosts the image to have a world-class magnetic resonance imaging, MRI. It boosts the hospital image to have an oxygen plant, so that tomorrow, if you need oxygen, quickly it's supplied to you via the tubes or via the cylinders. It makes so the question we are asking ourselves, why? Because you are saving money. Before government came in, all that money was going to a private man, those nearby. Because if you didn't have MRI, it goes to a private man who has the MRI. So you make a lot of money. And that's the question we also ask, because they make a lot of money. You see? And so if that money is coming to chest of Korle Bu, and then the same people are saying that, look, oh, the thing is getting broken down. Bring us some money to repair, they don't mind. Bring us some money, you don't mind. Management doesn't mind. And the thing gets broken down. Then you come and say, oh, when government was building it, they came, we don't know, the people came, the contractors, and they came and it was an agreement between a ministry and the contractors. Korle Bu has nothing to do with it. So we should sit down. No, that's not the excuse. And that's why I want to also plead that those things maybe should be made visit. I don't know whether they should sit down properly and then agree on the terms of maintenance.
Okay.
Because
we're going to go for a short break. And when we come back, I'd like to find out from you whether the perception that some of you, workers, senior staff, and so on, have constituted yourself into what is referred to as a mafia, and you are determined that no administration would ever succeed.
Thank you.
Now, we're talking to Mr. Charles Offei Palm. He's a pharmacist and is also the president of the Senior Staff Association of the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital. Short break. Hello and welcome back to Hot Issues. And we are looking at the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital. All the allegations, all the counter-allegations, allegations of nepotism, of corruption, of mismanagement, and so on. And we are fortunate to have with us in the studio Mr. Charles Offei Palm, who is the president of the Senior Staff Association of the hospital. Now, sir,
thank you.
Is it true, or could it be true, that you, some of the workers, including senior personnel, have constituted yourself into a mafia and are just making it impossible for management to succeed?
Thank you very much. Anytime I hear the word mafia, I laugh, because we all know the connotation that comes with the word mafia. And the mafia was introduced to the Ghanaian mainstream by the former board chairman, Mr. Edward Annan, when he tendered in his resignation. Now, if mafia, being that you demand that we do the right thing, if being mafia is that you demand that the cessation of mismanagement, if being mafia is that we should avoid judgment debts, if mafia being that we should stop using Korle Bu's money to pay legal lawyers, private lawyers, whilst we have a legal team, then mafia is a good thing. But where mafia, then I'm a mafia. Because that's what I stand for. I stand against misappropriation, mismanagement, corruption, nepotism, like you said. Then I'm a mafia. Now, where you want to define mafia as a group of people who have come together to make their work impossible for a CEO or a board chairman, then I stand to disagree. I am not a mafia. Partly because we want to make the end result of all our fights is to make Korle Bu viable. Now, I see it right that if you come as a CEO and you put in structures that will block leakages and lead to increase in the revenue, why would I oppose that? I will 100% welcome that view. Any measures that will be put in place to block leakages that will lead to increase in revenue, we are totally in support of that. And we have come out clear. Look, put in measures. Because you see, it is easier said than done. We came out, the Ghanaians came on us to prove far beyond doubt what we term mismanagement in the hospital. We proved beyond doubt Ghanaians what was the mismanagement we meant. Now, if you read it in my interdiction, the station that I went to, they had called to vindicate us because they realized that in the audit report, they realized some of the things that we said that we were bashed has proven right. So he felt that, look, these people said this some time ago, and Ghanaians were on them. Today, the auditor report, which is now on the net, has confirmed what they're saying. So come and talk about it. That led to my interdiction. So my fear...
What does the audit report confirm?
Good. The audit report says that, for example, that Korle in the year 2014, this is one of the things I was talking about, had arbitrarily dismissed staff, avoidable dismissal. That has cost the hospital over 435,000 Ghana cedis. Now, as we speak now, you can see on my document, Korle stands statement at almost 900,000 Ghana cedis. These are avoidable judgment debts. Avoidable in the sense that if you want to dismiss somebody in the system, there are processes and procedures that had to be followed. All we are saying is that we are not condoning wrongdoing. But if somebody has heard, somebody has wronged something, there's the need for you to follow the processes. So the auditor report, the station that called me was making reference to a publication in the Ghanaian Times about how Korle paid 91,000 Ghana cedis to the former CEO and then paid a vulnerable debt of over 430,000 Ghana cedis. And it was like, this is what we were saying. That look, because the IGF
there's an item here that I'd like us to examine. I mean, it says May 2013, Law Temple, Peter Walker and others, first part payment, 118,989 65 pesos, CD 65 pesos. Now, this is not workers. This is a law firm.
Good.
And is this a judgment debt?
Yes.
How?
Good question. Judgment debt in the sense that one of the things that we acquire the services of private legal practitioners. Now, Korle is an agency of the Ministry of Health. Now, if Korle requires legal advice, he can seek it from the Ministry of Health. And then Attorney General, let me learn. Attorney General too is also there for us to seek advice freely. Now,
are you saying that Korle's legal advice to Korle Hospital from one legal firm, part payment, first payment, amounting to almost 120,000 Ghana cedis? Is that what you're saying?
Legal. What I'm trying to say is that this is not belonging to Korle. You pay lawyers to go and defend issues about Korle.
And is this amount meant for paying lawyers to defend Korle?
That is it.
Part payment.
Yes.
First part payment. Second part payment is 100,000. That sends it to about 220,000.
And then individuals who have.
Third part payment, another 100,000. And third part payment, another 100,000. All coming very, very close to 400,000 Ghana cedis.
This one is almost 8,000. Yes.
For one law firm. Yeah. Doesn't Korle have an internal legal
Very
department?
good question. We have. Even
is the Attorney General's department not capable of representing Korle?
Good. They are. But your question is that why do we go and pay private lawyers to handle Korle issue? Because of in that Korle has a legal department. What happens is that when they advise, management does not listen. So they think that partly because they are in the hospital, they are sympathizers of the staff. And so they prefer to seek legal advice somewhere. And that is also costing the hospital. Now, apart from this, Korle has about 12 to 13 other pending cases. Now, if all of them should win, just imagine the amount of judgment.
What are these cases, 12 to 13?
Most of them are arbitrary dismissal.
Dismissal of staff?
Staff, arbitrary. And that's what was in the Auditor General report, arbitrary. It's avoidable. You see, we advise management to follow proper administrative procedures for hiring and firing employees. This is something that if you are to own your own private institution, your own company, will you be firing people arbitrarily to the tune against your own legal advice? Because they don't pay. They come and they go. And there is the hospital that bear the brunt, or government, or we, the citizenry, we bear the brunt to pay those amount of money. Because if you owe your own institution, you will not incur that. And it's got an issue of arrogance, ego, and insolence. Probably because, oh, I will dismiss him. After all, when they go to court and they win, it's not my money. Korle will pay. By that time, I'm not there. What we are saying, you also realize that when government came, first, the Ministry of Health was paying for its agencies when there was bad judgment debt, until it decentralized it. He said, look, now, if you're an agency and you have bad judgment debt, pay it yourself. That reduces the toll on the Ministry of Health. What we are now even saying that they should go further. If you are a CEO or a board chairman and you come to incur debt, let them pay. Because until we do that, you see, the essence of the money that we generate is going to the wrong place. And people must own up to the institutions they manage. Own it like it's yours. Because I strongly believe that if you were to be, Korle was to be my own, or you're the owner of the CEO, the CEO is doing that, he would take those decisions. But why are they doing that now? We have the Ministry of Health, which is an advisory agency to Korle. So even if you have a case, send it to the ministry. Ministry, this is what has happened. And there's a letter from the chief of staff saying that now, even if you want to even dismiss, because of that, if you want to even dismiss somebody, take it to a private service commission, let them then seek advice from the Attorney General. Because if you don't control it, we'll end up using our monies, IGF, to pay judgment debt. And you know, if judgment debt, when the court rules, you pay. And even there have been instances where they've refused to pay, and the court have ordered and to seize all the luxury cars in Korle. So yes, because so it means that then in the management, the judgment will become priority. Because if you don't handle that, the court will come after the money. And so let's pay them, and then we'll leave the essential things that we are supposed to do. This is some of the things we are saying. We want the leaders to own up to what you do. There is a law that says that before you even take a car, there's a law that says that, look, change all the cars to green plates. When His Excellency said that, he also meant that on weekends, look, let me come with a situation. We are paying, for example, a CEO who has retired, 91,000 Ghana cedis. And then when a staff who has worked for 35 years or 40 years retires, we don't give the staff anything. What if you are lucky? They give you half piece of a customer tester. That is if you are lucky. Now, we are saying that even if you look at the current condition of service that is given to the CEO, he is saying that when he is leaving office, all his allowances for the 2 years should be paid to him as ex gratia. And you ask yourself, how much is the allowance? It's 10,000, 12,000 Ghana cedis. So Korle has that money. Yet when we lack certain basic consumables to make sure that the same patient you are treating, who has bought you the money, we can treat him back and come back and get money. We say we don't have money. And we sit down and we watch as the hospital goes down and down and down. We've kept quiet for so long. We are saying that, look, for once, we need to make the play viable. Honorable, we've seen that institutions run down. When you go collapse hospitals in this world, you realize they started the same way the pattern Korle followed. No action was taken. You realize in America, they have the free market, they are the closest in free market in health. But even that, you don't hear Obama saying that, well, okay, they don't say that they are giving some money to a hospital to revive. No. They give to financial institutions. The idea that financial institutions must provide to that hospital to survive. So we are following a trend whereby government is retooling, yet we don't see the money that comes out. And we are saying that, look, if we are not careful, today we have all these clinical services down, ICU is down, I is down, CSSD is down, oxygen plant is down. Where are you going to get the money to meet your target? You won't meet your target. What it also means is that you will still have your expenditure. So then clinical care will be affected. And the end result is that we are not meeting the needs of our citizenry.
Now, sir, briefly, what can we do to improve services at Korle?
Very good. Number one, we need dedicated and leadership that will own the hospital. When I say own the hospital, you want to manage the hospital like yours. And then make sure that if the idea is that any person who comes to Korle will go by with a smile, let's target that. How do we target that? I train in Cuba. And in Cuba, my services were free. I work at the emergency. Sometimes you come to the hospital, you don't have money, and it's bad. You see that they come with a prescription. How much does it cost? 1 million. Hey, where am I going to get this money for? And they cry in front of me. I've not seen that before. I had my second degree in Aberdeen, When I went, it's free. I work to the hospital, they take care of me free. I don't put out money, a lot of prescription, out of pocket payment. So I have seen a kind of life that people are joyous when they enter the hospital, as against coming to another hospital when people are entering, they are sad because they are expecting an outcome that is negative. We need to change that impression. We need to do that by managing, number one, our scarce resources. How much money is coming? How do we make sure the same clients who have sold his land to come and seek medical, to purchase medical, tomorrow when he or she is coming back, he has that same medicine waiting for his brother or sister to take care of him or herself? That must be guaranteed. We don't see that. We have leaders who come and think about themselves, So we are there. You employ about 4,500. The next thing you say, oh, Korle is not viable. We are prioritizing Korle. Then what do? Then now we start up saying, oh, they were buying cars. What did you do at that time? We want to avoid that. So we are just, I keep saying that people come, CEOs come and they brag. I was appointed by His Excellency President Mahama. I take instructions, but before His Excellency appointed you as the CEO, he has already appointed me as the watchdog for probity, accountability, and transparency. That's why they don't put on certificate. He said they are already watchdogs of probity. They are there as watchdogs of accountability and transparency. What it simply means is that there are processes and procedures of which you have to abide by. So if you are going astray, I think it's time right for you to say, look, we are deviating from what established norm is doing. Don't think about yourself. Think about the client. Think about the viability of the hospital. That has been the stand of the Korle Senior Staff Association. Unfortunately, we have been misunderstood. We have been labeled mafias. But I keep saying that it's time that proves people right. Just like I was called on the station to be proven right because something I said 2 years ago, being interdicted today. Tomorrow, what will be next? So we keep quiet. You see, things are not right. And let us, so Korle is the prime, let's take politics. The other, they keep asking me, some of us are politics. No, let us take politics out from healthcare delivery. It is in healthcare delivery that you don't see a politician. Because when you are in an emergency, you come in as an emergency, who you meet, you don't know. But if there is excess, we purchase healthcare in anticipation that when we fall sick, we are secured our health insurance. So you are carrying the hope and joy that, oh, when I get to Korle, they have all the medicines, they have all the competence people there to take care of me. Sometimes you get to the emergencies. Now I laugh at it because when you're in queue, you're in traffic, you see this ambulance, they say, people, they come and pass you. And sometimes when I'm with my friends, I jokingly say, look, I'll get to the hospital, I work at the emergency, and when I go, I'll go and speed the ambulance there with a patient inside. They say, are you sure? I said, let's do. On 5 occasions, I'll be in traffic. By the time I get to the emergency, when I used to work at the emergency, you see the ambulance parked there. The patient is still inside. He's not being seen, partly because they say there is no space. Just imagine the person has come from Wali, has come from Second D, has come from a very far place. Where are you taking that patient to? These are the things we expect management to look into and work towards that goal. But rather, what do we say?
Sir, thank you very much
for
coming.
Thank you very much.
Well, we've been talking to Mr. Charles Offei Palm, President of the Senior Staff Association of the Korle Teaching Hospital. I've been discussing problems in the hospital, the allegations and counter-allegations, all the problems that plague the hospital. And we do hope that something would happen to make the hospital what it was intended to be.
Supported by 3FM 92.7 Accra.